3 days into our vacation, I went to a bachelor party.
Oh dear, that's always the start of a good story though, so please go on.
It's not the same as like back in the days where you come in with like 3 new executives and then you feel like you're good to go, right? Like now it's a bit more details and small things that you change, but we have a few new things up our sleeves, I would say.
It's something that we do a lot outside, but recently we've had some injuries on the team. Not just
multiple
Rasmus,
injuries across the board.
Not just we literally need a hospital for this team at this point. Like we have
turning into a retirement home.
Ladies and gentlemen, another episode of Coffee with Henry. Some are calling the best CSGO podcast in the world right now. Fan of the show, Justin Savage, joined by HooXi. The G2 boys are here. Welcome back from the break, guys. A break needed, I think, for a lot of pro teams, especially you guys. You are burning it at both ends towards the end there. What did you get up to on the break? Anything interesting? I'll ask HooXi first because there is a bit of an elephant in the room. Looks like you had a bit too much fun on your vacations. Should we just get it over with now? Like what's happened?
Like 3 days into our vacation, I went to a bachelor party.
Oh dear, that's always the start of a good story though, so please go on.
No, it's Roy from Fnatic. Okay. It was his bachelor party and we went to play something called Bumper Bowl, which is like football with like, you have this huge ball around you and you're
like
supposed to run into each other.
Ball, as we call it. I think, it's like a big inflatable thing around you,
you're supposed to run into each other and I did. After 10 seconds, I couldn't play it anymore. And I don't know what happened yet. It's like 3 weeks ago now and I'm getting scanned after Cologne. So.
Well, like I said before, at least it's not your hands, right? At least it's the ankle.
I don't even know the guy I ran into.
So it wasn't like it wasn't a pro CS player sabotaging your ship before you came.
We were on the same team, all the pro CS players who were there, but.
Justin, what were your thoughts when you heard about this nonsense coming through? Because you were messing around. You were playing CS the whole time. I was playing with you. Yeah. You were messing around. He stayed at home playing. So when you get this phone call, your in-game leader has broken his leg. What are you thinking?
That was a bit unexpected, but I was thankful that it was only his leg, not his arms or hands. So.
Well, does it mean at least you're playing more CS? Because
I've been grinding.
Yeah, you've been grinding. Yeah, I guess you've got nothing else to do. There's no other temptations, no bachelor parties anymore, right?
He did that before, but now he has actual excuse to not do anything outside.
It's actually good for me.
It's actually really good for him, and I think he's very happy about it.
Well, you're still smiling. That's the most important thing.
I'll keep this on when my leg is fine again.
Yeah, that's a pretty baller look, to be honest. That's like some Terminator sort of bio level stuff. That's pretty cool. But I suppose you guys. You didn't make any changes. Roster mania occurred. You guys seem to be happy where you are. Let's just talk about that for a second. Like, obviously towards the end of 2022, start of this year as well, you guys looked like you were in the spot. You found the pocket, you got it to the place you wanted to be. Towards the end of the season, things started to deteriorate in that sense. You stuck with the roster though, with the reasons behind that because you feel like you can reclaim the former glory and you've identified the issues. What are the reasons for sticking together?
Well, we know we have all the tools to make it work, right? Yep. We were totally dominant for a few months and won of the biggest events in CS that you can win. So we know we have all the tools necessary, but of course it's hard to stay on a high for that long. And I think it was just a mix of the disappointment of the major. We also burned out a bit in the end with the 2 NA events in Washington and Dallas. It was it didn't feel as important, and we were also just tired, I think. So
I think a lot of teams it's not spoken about enough. Like when you're at the top and you're like a top 3 team, you're competing at every single tournament. The burnout, not necessarily just from the tournaments and the travel and all that stuff, strategically as well. Yeah. Very difficult to refresh your arsenal of tactics and what you're doing, because everyone is not only watching your demos, they're replicating what you do, refining it, and they're using your stuff against you. Is that something you noticed towards the end of last season? Difficult to redefine and kind of keep yourselves fresh?
Especially on Inferno, we were really dominant and we had a really good T side. And one thing is people are looking at you a lot and they are copying all your stuff and all this, but it's also, for example, if we have 2 other maps that are really weak, then we work harder on that than trying to renew ourselves on Inferno, right? So it's kind of a mix of us not putting in the work on Inferno because we're focused on other stuff and other people actually looking a lot at us, right? So it's really tough to stay on top on
what about
stuff
you,
like
Justin, as an individual? Your play style, it's quite easy to identify. You have your own style to the game. Do you feel like you get a lot more attention, people understanding your maneuvers that you have to keep fresh? What's the individual process?
I can't really say that people steal things from me, but it's more just I think people probably watch what I do and stuff in the way I play certain spots, and then it's just easy to counter after a while, and that just requires me to go and find some new things to do or go find a different way to play. So if I was to do that, then I would go watch someone else play.
I guess you're right.
I think it's just about not keeping it the same every game and just mixing it up from time to time. I think it's easier as an individual to do that rather than as a team.
Absolutely true. I guess one change you guys did make, your supporting staff, the sports psychologist stepped back. A lot of people were saying like he kind of laid down the blueprint, as it were, how to be the esports sports psychologist. Is that something you guys found very beneficial at the time? Have you felt like you've learned enough from it? Is that something that's a big deal for you guys going forward, having that support network?
I think it's very individual. Like for me, for example, I didn't feel like it benefited me too much.
Okay.
But I think like Justin worked with Edward for a long time, and I think it benefited Justin a lot, right?
Yeah, so I think it's just nice to have someone like to bring the team together and have like some sort of like authority outside of just playing and outside of the team, like someone who's like a third party in a way. And of course, it's really beneficial to have someone like that, just like mentally in the team. I think it's kind of like a good vibe for everyone on the team and kind of like in a way like a rock for the team. So yeah, I think just having someone like that is obviously really beneficial. But like Rasmus said, I think for individuals, like it's always different how people take the information and how people receive to it and stuff like that. So yeah.
I guess in terms of like we said, you guys haven't made changes. I just had Heroic on as well, and they're talking about the family bond and building that brotherhood. What are you guys doing outside the server to kind of keep morale high and keep like the team spirit going?
So we play a game called Snake, and it's kind of similar to actually what Heroic do. We've seen them playing it a few times.
Right.
I don't think we got it from them. I think we just decided to play it one day when we were boot camping, and it stuck with us. It's just like football outside.
Okay.
We see them playing it a lot, and that's something that we do a lot outside. But recently we've had some injuries on the team, not just
multiple
Rasmus,
injuries across the board.
Not just Rasmus, but like other people as well. So it's kind of tough.
We literally need a hospital for this team.
Yeah.
It's fun, like we have
We're turning into a retirement home.
2 people with a sore back and one who can't walk.
Man.
And
Well, God bless you here, and you can play.
Problems. Hunter has some hip problems.
Good
Rasmus has some
Lord.
leg problems.
we all
It's
just
pretty
80
problem.
years average now.
Yeah,
so.
the only one we've had problems is Ilya. So
Yeah.
Would you say you guys have a good vibe within your camp? Would you say like you enjoy the company of spending time with each other outside?
Yeah, for sure. I think if it was not like that, it would not be doable what we're doing. Like traveling all the time. I can't even remember how many. I think I have over 100 traveling days already this year.
Absolutely.
And if you cannot like vibe with the people that you're on the team with, then I think it will just never work. So, but yeah, on this team, I think everybody likes each other. And
even just like getting along with the people, like just having like spending so much time together and playing CS so much, there's going to be conflict regardless, just because of things that happen in game.
Yeah.
But as long as everyone enjoys each other's company outside the game, then it's easily fixable. So.
Yeah, absolutely true. The big thing about Rostermania right now, everyone's talking about international rosters versus regional. HooXi, you coming from Copenhagen Flames, like you had that experience of playing in your mother tongue, etc. You've now had some time to build within this international roster. Do you feel like this is the tip of the pyramid? This is the best place to be in terms of if you have to be, international's the way forward in terms of the player pool? Or do you think there's still the benefit of playing with regional players?
I think when you come from a country like Denmark where there's a really strong scene already or like still, then I think it's mostly beneficial to speak like the same language. And yeah, when in a situation like G2s or like a lot of teams now, of course it's because of the player material that you go international. And I understand it, and I think it's like that is the way to go for a lot of countries as well. But I think for, Denmark could even be like France, Sweden, all these iconic CS nations. I think they could easily make a top team, and it would be more beneficial for them to have like the same language. So yeah.
What was the best roster change for you, Justin? Out of all the craziness we saw, a lot of surprising ones. I think Navi is the most like, I guess, the one that caught us off guard the most. What's for you has been the best change overall? Like the one you kind of appreciate the
I
most?
think there were so many changes I can't remember them all, but the Navi one is definitely interesting. The ones that are like still rumored to happen as well, I think
The Cloud9 one, I guess, is like could be the best move. I think.
I think for me that one is the most interesting one for sure, and I think. I mean, like, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I have no idea. But if it does happen, I think that team will be super strong, and it'd be really nice to see, like, how they go. Of course, I don't think it'd be really nice to play them because I think they're going to be really good.
Yeah, that's
just
a good
to watch
point,
them play, I think it'll be really nice. But yeah, I think the most interesting one, I think, is Navi, just to see how they go as well.
As an in-game leader, HooXi, seeing the Navi news, like, how does that make you feel for someone like Alexi B being thrown into that sort of position as dealing with a player of Simple's caliber and personality? Do you feel for him? Is it like a scary thought or an exciting one?
I don't think it's like anything about dealing with a personality, because I think Simple grew a lot as a person, so he will for sure deal with that himself. But I think for two CIS players to go into an English-speaking team, like for myself, when I started on this team, it was really tough, especially the first few months. Not even only in game, but also just to, create camaraderie within the team. It's hard to like have the same kind of fun in English at first. So yeah, I think it's going to be a huge uphill battle for them at the start, but it can definitely, become good in the end.
It's kind of a crazy thing, isn't it? Like, I don't think anyone a month ago would have thought I'd be interviewing Alexi B and Simple on these couches beforehand. Like, it's such a wild thought. What do you think about these sort of moves, though? Like, obviously, you guys sticking to your guns. We've got a new game around the corner. Regardless what our thoughts are on that, it's happening. And do you feel like these changes are too much of a gamble before a new title comes out? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, you'd rather see how it goes, see how the game develops before you make these sort of big moves?
I think it works in both ways. Like, I think if people are trying to invest in younger people for the future, then I think it could pay off for sure. But at the same time, if the game comes out really soon, then it's probably more beneficial to stick together as a team and have the same lineup, right? So I think it's a bit of both, but I mean, no one knows when Valve is going to release the game anyway, so it's always...
Okay, I saw the last rumor was like August maybe.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard, but
I feel like they have so much to work on, and I read the interview of Halij on HooXi, and it was like, he was saying that like, it's a bit ambitious to say summertime, especially for all the things that they need to fix, and I mean, I think that's pretty true actually, so yeah, I mean, who knows?
HooXi, like in terms of G2's goals now, a lot of uncertainty with Counter-Strike, obviously, with the change of game. But what would leave you satisfied, considering it's been quite a turbulent year, up and down? The last few months now, what would leave you satisfied in CSGO? What are the objectives going forward?
Well, obviously, with winning Katowice, we have like high expectations still. To win an event like Cologne would be something that would satisfy me for sure. But I think I'm never really that result-based, and what I would just like to see now is just that we find a bit more stability. And yeah, we're working towards that, so we'll see how it goes. But
if I were to ask you what you thought your biggest flaw was last season, what would you say it was?
I think towards the end, it was just like mood and motivation was not there.
You guys seemed like, I would say burnt out. Like it seemed like a lot of like FaZe, especially, and you guys, it felt like you just going too deep in the tournament. Like it's like too much pressure trying to everyone, Andy stratting you, having to just go hard every single night, pressure getting harder and harder. So more stability, more consistency, I guess that's what everyone dreams for.
And just I just hope that we keep it up when it comes to communication and team play and stuff like this, because when we are on point with that, then nobody can really touch us, I feel like. So,
are you coming in with a new arsenal of tools, as it were, strategically? Like, have you added anything to the playbook you're happy with, or something you're excited about? Obviously, don't spill the beans, but in terms of how you're redefining the team going forward.
Yeah, it's like, of course, we added some new things and we worked on some stuff, but it's not the same as like back in the days where you come in with like 3 new executes and then you feel like you're good to go, right? Like now it's a bit more details and small things that you change, and then more like a way you play and a style you play rather than like an execute or something. But we have a few new things up our sleeves, I would say. Yeah.
Justin, and your kind of journey in CSGO, it's been a wild one, and towards the end, you're finding some great success, made quite a name for yourself. Would you say you're satisfied with your legacy you've left behind in CSGO, considering where you started, where you are now, the trophies you picked up along the way, especially back-to-back Katowices? Like, I would say it's a pretty sick career, but obviously people of your caliber, you're always going to be wanting more. How do you feel the journey's gone so far?
Yeah, I mean, it can always be better, but I can't say it's bad or anything. Like, I have to be grateful for it, and I have no complaints about it so far. Like, if you were to tell me that I would have done as much as I did when I first started in Australia, like playing CSGO, I would have just laughed at you. So, I mean, like, if you look back then and what I was thinking and the way that I approached the game and stuff back then, when I was like on Vox with Sponge and stuff like that, like, it's completely different to now. So I mean, like, of course, once you do stuff and you make achievements, your expectations always go higher and stuff like that. But I think you just need to remind yourself like what it was like back then. So,
do you have any personal goals for the last couple of months of CSGO itself?
I mean, for sure, I think like Rasmus said, winning Cologne would be massive. I think that's something that we're all aiming for on the team, and especially for me because I never played playoffs at Cologne. So to play in front of that crowd just to play in front of the crowd was obviously always a goal for me already. So to get there would be the first one. And I mean, without the major, it's a little bit weird just because like, I don't know, everyone kind of like has the goal of going to the major, right? So like without that, you kind of need to adjust your goals a little bit. But I think Cologne is definitely a big one for us. And yeah, I mean, any of the other tournaments that are iconic, like maybe Blast, Copenhagen or something like that, like especially for Rasmus as well. So
that would be sick.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? Just to punctuate everything with a nice win in Copenhagen.
Just doing something good once more as a team, at least in CSGO, that would be nice. So
imagine being king of Katowice and Cologne.
Yeah, true. Actually, that would kind of suit you, I think. That's a kind of nice couple of crowns.
Two-time champ.
The two-time, yeah, for real. Can we expect any spicy tweets from you this event, perhaps?
Tweets? I don't know.
I always like when a HooXi tweet comes out mid-event. That's always a bit of drama.
I'm trying to stay away from social media.
Oh, really?
That stuff is.
It's poison for the mind, man. There's nothing really good that can come out of it. I think. I feel like just focusing on the job at hand is the main thing.
Yeah, I'm tweeting what I have to tweet for now, and we will see if I come back at some point.
Good stuff. All right, gents. Well, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck, and congratulations sticking with the new roster. Best of luck in CS:GO and indeed CS2. This has been Coffee with Henry. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.